welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, the 14th day of August 2013. My name is Shawn King. Thank you guys very, very much for joining us here in the middle of August. A lovely day today in the gorgeous Rocky Mountains. Had a wonderful ride. It's a good day. It's going to be a good show. So thanks you guys very much for joining us and sticking with us. On tonight's show, we are not going to have our IRC babe Sly. She might be in the IRC chat room, but Sly, we are thinking about you nonetheless. We are going to have our her site one, Jim Dalrymple. Now, I mentioned to Jim the odd audio noise we were getting, the microphone noise we were getting from his mic that he's using on the video. And the problem is it's a combination of the video and the microphone. So he said we can have better sound but no video, or we could have video with the weird sound. I'm going to go with the video for the time being. Unless you guys really hate the odd sound, and maybe Jim can fix it at some point in the future. But that's you know that jingly bell sound. It sounds like he's got bells in his beard, and that's caused by the microphone. We're also going to be talking about the BookBook. I'm going to do my 1 week review of the BookBook from the wonderful folks at 12south.com. This is a BookBook. See, it's right on their side. It says BookBook. I just like saying BookBook. So I'll have a review of that. Again, for those folks who are subscribed to Your Mac Life for August, September, October, you will get sometime early September. I'm going to start testing this page with you guys, trying to figure out a way to get a password-protected site that you guys don't have to download software for or don't have to do anything fancy to get access to. There's all kinds of things out there, journals and that kind of stuff I could set up, but then you'd have to download the software or install something, or I don't want to do it that way. I want it to be in a web browser that you guys can see on your iPhone, on your iPad, on your web browser, on your Macs. We're trying to find the easiest way to do this. So one of the things is we're trying to find out how, when we're going to go, which is probably late September. And it turns out there are flights that go from Calgary on British Airways, flying out of Calgary to London, England, and then to Torino, Italy, which is where we want to go. So checking this online, I noticed that the flight leaving Calgary left at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, got into London about 9 a.m. the following morning. The downside is the flight doesn't leave till the next day out of Gatwick Airport. It's not even like you could hang around Heathrow for 24 hours. You have to go to a completely different airport in the other side of London. So we thought, well, you know what? We'll just go into London and hang out in London. Well, it turns out the cute Italian girl, Alessandra, and by the way, if you follow me on Twitter, you have seen the picture of Alessandra. I put it up on my Flickr page. The cute Italian girl has never been to London. She is a world traveler. She's been to many, many, many more places than I have, and yet she's never been to the lovely, wonderful city of London, England. So I thought, well, that'd be kind of fun to take her to. We would go into the city of London, but so we don't want to do it just for a day. We want to do it for a couple of days and see, some of the major sites. Those folks watching the video, let me see if I can't pull up this picture I have of the cute Italian girl. We were at I think it's called Mistaya Canyon in Banff National Park. If you want to see that, if you're not watching the video, if you want to check it out, it's flickr.com/photos/your Mac Life. That's where I put all my Flickr photos. Brian Monroe says she is a cute Italian girl. She is. I wouldn't lie to you guys. She's very cute. It's a tiny thing, dude, like 5 foot nothing. Well, itty bitty tiny thing. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to hang out in London for a couple of days. And that's where things just go to hell in a handbasket. DarXMac on Twitter said he likes making these travel arrangements. Well, go ahead. You want to have some fun? Try to find a website that will let you do that. That will let you do 2 separate flights. So Calgary to London, London to Turin, and then find hotels that are reasonably priced in the middle of that. It's a nightmare. The British Airways flight Calgary to Torino with that London stopover, 1 day stopover, is $1,300. It ain't cheap, kids. One person per $1,300 per person. So I probably spent 2 hours yesterday on Expedia, on Travelocity, on Hotels.com, on every travel website you could possibly imagine, trying to figure out a way to get this done at a reasonable price. That's the key. Yes, you can fly Calgary, London, Torino, London, Calgary, with 2 nights stay in the middle. But according to one website I found, it cost $10,000. Another website cost $7,000 per person. It's a nightmare. So this is where a travel agent comes in handy. This is where I finally figured out, you know what? Just go to the Canadian Automobile Association, and for $40, they'll have a travel agent that will do all the heavy lifting for you. $40, and she'll not only find this stuff. I went and sat down with her and told her, this is what we want, this is what we need. She'll find all that stuff, and that poor girl just typed her butt off. I was there for about an hour while she tried various permutations and combinations of flights and hotel and that kind of stuff. So for her to give us an idea of what we're going to pay. So it looks like it's going to be $1,600 with the hotel included. It's not cheap. That's expensive. I just got to tell you, man. I'm so used to flying for under $1,000 Vancouver, New York, under $500 Vancouver to San Francisco. So mind-blowing how much it costs to go from Calgary to Europe. It's just hugely expensive. So anyway, there is where travel agents come in handy. I know they've been superseded for the most part by the internet and by Expedia and Travelocity and Bookings.com and all the rest of them. But if you have any kind of glitches or you need any kind of special things, talk to your local travel agent. They work on commission, so the hotels she was quoting me were significantly higher than the hotels that we found on our own. But the travel arrangement she made or can make, along with the advice, the information, the don't book this day, book this day kind of stuff is pretty valuable. And certainly I got more than $40 of value out of her today for the hour and a half we sat down while I pepper her with questions and told her no, that's not going to work. I wonder if this is true of a lot of people and their national airlines. Canadians generally hate Air Canada. It turns out Italians hate Air Italia. I wonder do Germans hate Lufthansa? Do Australians hate Qantas? Do the Dutch hate KLM? I'm curious if other countries that have national airlines, if those people actually hate the airlines. Because she was telling me that her boyfriend, who is from southern Italy, also hates Air Italia. The cute Italian girl will not fly Air Italia. So it sort of cancels out a whole airline that we could fly to Italy. If she won't use the Italian national airline, kind of hooped to a certain degree, So that's the challenges of this kind of stuff. So yeah, if you're looking for just straight up flights, yeah, use the web. But if you're looking for something that's even slightly convoluted or out of the ordinary, and you're not Dar X-Mac and don't want to spend hours and hours and hours trying to figure this stuff out, check out your local travel agent. Sherry, anyone have tips to keep the dog out of the kitty's food and or litter box? You guys ask some weird ass questions. I don't know. Put a lid on it. Can you put a lid? Oh, Maurice is here with the beer. That's a rhyme. It's the Rickards Red Irish Style Ale. Thank you very much, Maurice.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, buddy. So again, yeah. So travel agents. And if you have any suggestions for a password protector website, I've got my web guy, Doug Zevius, looking into it. Apparently you can do it via WordPress, but only WordPress that's installed on your own servers. So that's out, because I can't install WordPress. I don't know enough of WordPress to be able to figure that out. So So yes, on tonight's show, we're going to be talking a little about the travel stuff. We'll talk to Jim Dalrymple about the news of the week. We'll talk more about the BookBook. I've had this. This is my 1 week review of the BookBook. And I say 1 week because I don't want to say the review will be different, but there'll be another review of this after I get back from Italy. The reason why is because I want to put this through a real torture test. Using this as I don't know if it's meant to be used, but using this as the way I want to use this and seeing if it's suitable. We'll talk more about why I say it that way later on in the show. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want to add to the show, we love getting emails from you guys. You send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. And any questions you have or any emails you want to send to that address, get read on the show or get read during the week and then on the show later. So even you folks in the archive can participate. Speaking of participating, we'd love for you guys to join us in the IRC chat room. Thanks to our good friend Monty. Monty has set it up, so all you got to do, go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there on the front of the page, it's set up for video. So my happy smiling face. Hello! But also underneath the video is the IRC chat room. So you don't have to know anything about IRC. All you do is put in your a name you want to use, and it'll drop you right into the IRC chat room. If you're a traditional IRCer, though, you can always use the server that we have set up, thanks to the nice folks at irc.chat-solutions.org. We're in the Pound Your Mac Life channel. So join us in the IRC chat room and say hi to the gang that is there. So like I said, later on we'll talk about the BookBook, but right now we're going to give our good friend Jim Dalrymple a call so we can find out what he's been up to this week. This is Your Mac Life. Are you there, Jim? Hello? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Is this any better?
Yeah, actually, you're not wearing jingle bells.
All right.
It was a really weird sound. Literally, people in the audience thought you had bells in your beard, which I think is actually kind of cool.
God knows what I've done there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even want to know what kind of conditioner you got to use to untangle that mess you got up in there. No, nothing. Just all natural.
All natural. Baby.
All right. The first thing we want to talk about today is answer this question for me.
Why do I keep hearing music?
I'm sorry. Is the music still playing? Sorry, that's my fault. My fault. Music stopped. So first thing today, answer this question. Larry Ellison, moron or stupid?
I think Larry thinks the same way that a lot of people think.
How do you mean?
Well, I think a lot of people think Apple will go down without Steve.
Okay, fair enough. But don't we expect more from Larry Ellison? I mean, this seems to be a remarkable... No.
No, I think we got exactly what we expect from Larry.
So, okay, I guess I was giving him more credit because this is something that some tech blogger who works for CNET would say, not a guy who has been involved in this industry for 20 or 30 years. Is it just me, or does this seem like a dumb thing to say?
Did I just freeze?
You look like you froze. I can still hear you, but you froze in such a cute way, man.
I know, it's a good thing I wasn't all ugly. Yeah, my camera. Do you want me to hang up?
Yeah, let's do it again because the audience really looks forward to your video. So we'll hang up and try again.
Okay.
Okay, that was him dropping. Oh, technology. Isn't it fun? Let's try again. Now he's not answering. I just got a weird noise. All right, let's try again. Oh my God. Do, 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 do. Anything? Jim? All right, trying one more time. I think it's got to be on Jim's end because everything else is working. How can you tell it's Wednesday? Huh? Could someone text Jim and ask him why he's not picking up? Oh my God. Oh, there we go. Incoming call. What the hell? Don't worry, folks. I'll fix this in post. That sad little noise, Susan, was probably me making sad little noises. That's Skype, Susan, basically hanging up on Jim. I have no idea why. So that's me calling Skype. Oh, dear. And that sound is Skype dropping the call. That's just so strange. It says Jim's online. God, I can't win. Oh, my goodness gracious. Brian Monroe, Shawn, next time leave it. Leave what? He might be rebooting his Mac to fix the frozen camera, according to Monty. That's oh, dear. Skype just does not want to seem to talk to Jim. Side, Jim says he's answering every time. That's just so weird. Because you guys can hear. I mean, I'll show it to you. Watch. Here's the video I see. It says Jim Dalrymple connecting. And nothing's happening. Y'all can see that in the video. There's nothing going on. Okay, I'll just call Jim on his landline instead. Oh, dear. It's Wednesday. I can tell because technology hates me. Let's call this number. Hello.
Hello.
I have no idea what the hell is going on.
Jeez.
It's just so weird because the folks in the RC chat room were telling me that you were answering every single time, but we could see here on the video that Skype just wasn't connecting. It was calling, but it never connected, and then it would drop the call after 4 or 5 rings.
Yeah, well, no, I answered as soon as it came in. I started to answer,
It was so.
and I was kicking things around the office, and
Oh, well. So did your video unfreeze, or who cares?
well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I closed the program and then opened it back up again, and then when you would call, I couldn't hear anything when I answered.
Bizarre. All right. Anyway, we were talking about Larry Ellison. Is he wrong? I mean, first of all, let's get this straight. Do you believe that Larry Ellison is wrong in what he says about Apple?
Well, I think that Larry's looking at it the wrong way. I think a lot of people look at it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because what Larry is saying, you cannot argue with the history of what Larry is saying. He's saying that Steve was there and Apple went up.
Yep.
And then they kicked Steve out and Apple went down. Then Steve came back, Apple went up. Now Steve is gone, so Apple must go down.
Yeah.
Well, the big difference here is that Steve was kicked out the last time.
Yeah.
And Steve was young the last time. And this time when Steve left, Steve knew he was leaving. And Steve did his best to leave the company in good hands.
Yeah.
And Steve built up a company around the vision that he had for Apple for the last 10 or 15 years. And that's what Apple is moving forward with right now. So I don't think, as much as you have to give Steve credit, and I said in the piece, if there's one man in this world that is unreplaceable, that man must be Steve Jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think that Larry is giving Steve's legacy enough credit. So,
yeah,
we'll
as where to go? Mosquito says in the IRC chat room, Ellison's deliberately ignoring context. I think that's the issue, is that if you just look at it and assume past his prologue, and then things happen in the past that will also happen in the future, then he's right. But he's, as Mosquito says, ignoring the context. The people around, there's no way you could ever equate Tim Cook with John Scully. There's no way you could equate the product mix that Apple has now with the crappy Performas and Quadras they had after Steve Jobs left.
Yeah. And there's so many things that are different. And, if Apple does not, and I hate to say this word because I hate even saying this word, but if Apple does not innovate over the next few years and continue to put out products that people want to buy, then yes, they will go down. But so will every company.
That's right, exactly.
It's not just Apple. I mean, if Microsoft, God forbid, if Microsoft stopped innovating, they may go down. Microsoft, it's the same. I mean, Samsung I view as a bit different because Samsung just kind of, releases as many products as they can and, try and sell as many of those as they can. And so that's a little bit different. I mean, Microsoft had its heyday.
Yep.
And, they took advantage of that. And I haven't seen anything really good out of Microsoft beyond the Xbox stuff for a long time. But, if that's the trap that Apple falls into, then, they'll be in the same boat. And they're not there. There's no reason that they have to be there. So they have an opportunity to not even get in that.
Yeah, I don't understand just how Ellison can be so tone deaf on this particular subject. Like I said, I mean, I agree with what you're saying is if Apple doesn't innovate, then he'd be correct. But there's no evidence to sustain the idea that Apple isn't going to continue to innovate. They've innovated in the past, they've innovated in the future, in the present, and they're going to innovate in the future.
I agree.
Speaking of innovation, sorry, go ahead.
If in 5 years, Ellison could be proven right, or we're going to be proven right, one of the two.
Yeah, which is unlikely that we'll be wrong and he'll be right, I don't think, anyway. Speaking of innovation, we are all going to assume that on September 10th, Apple is going to innovate again. The announcement that was confirmed by this very man, Jim Dalrymple, on The Loop at loopinsight.com, that the story from All Things D, that Apple is going to have their next launch event of the iPhone on September 10th. I'm going to assume that you're going to be there, Jim.
Well, I hope so. I hope I get invited.
I'm pretty sure you'll get invited. If not, you can have mine. How's that?
Yeah.
All right.
That first guy that said September the 6th, he was so close.
Just so close. Any indications as to what you think they'll announce? I noticed I saw you commenting about Gruber's post about the low-cost iPhone. That seems to be the rumor du jour. Do you think that Apple needs this mythical low-cost iPhone, colors or not?
You know what? I think if you put together Gruber's post with Ben Evans' post that I linked to today, that'll give you, I think, a good idea of what Apple could do with a low-cost iPhone. I mean, Benedict, he's a smart guy.
Yep.
And if you look at, I'm not a numbers guy like him or Horace Dadu or those guys. But if you look at what Benedict said, he said that a low-cost iPhone could sell, tens of millions a quarter.
But wait. I read that too, but the iPhone is already selling tens of millions a quarter. They sold 14 million iPhones last quarter.
That's right.
So he's not saying anything. Sorry, go ahead.
No, he is. He's talking what he's saying is that a low-cost iPhone would not take away from the high-end iPhone. It would actually protect the high-end iPhone, and a low-cost iPhone would actually take away from the Android sales.
Mm-hmm, sure, that makes sense.
So there are tens of millions more that would buy a low-cost iPhone on top of the people buying the high-end model.
Now, to be clear, I don't think enough people are being clear enough on this. When we're talking about low-cost iPhone, we're not talking about the free iPhone 4 you can get from AT&T. We're not even talking about the $99 iPhone 4S you can get from AT&T. We're not talking about those, are we? Because those phones are still subsidized by AT&T, by Verizon, by Rogers, correct?
Right, correct.
We're talking about a phone that you can walk into the store. Are we saying unlocked for $99, for $49? I mean, I haven't seen prices from anybody.
No.
What are we talking about?
No, I don't expect it to be that cheap. I think that you're probably looking at half the cost of an iPhone model.
An unsubsidized iPhone.
Well, I don't know what the carriers plan on doing with it, but if Apple offers this lower cost, it's still going to be, and this is what I tried to point out with Gruber's post. This is where I think Gruber was so smart last night. He said lower cost and lower price.
Yep.
He never said cheap, because cheap would indicate, oh, it's going to be a piece of junk. It's not going to be a piece of junk. It's still going to be an iPhone, and it's still going to have Apple's logo on it, and it's going to be the Apple brand, and it's going to be the iPhone brand. So it's going to be a good phone. Now, what Apple decides to do, with that phone to bring the cost down, I mean, maybe it has an older chip, or maybe it doesn't have Siri, or, I don't know. Who knows?
Oh, come on. You don't really believe that. That was Gene Munster off his meds again. You don't believe they're going to take Siri out of the low-cost iPhone, do you?
No. I mean, Siri is one of the things that people love. But if you take a look again at Ben's article and say, okay, they're going to go for this lower-end model, and people that typically won't buy apps, they don't care about apps, so they're not really tied into that ecosystem, although they could be. I mean, maybe that's how they upgrade to the bigger one. There could be things that they hold back. There could be things that, but I do like John's point of view on that, if Apple thinks that they need to withhold things, then maybe the bigger iPhone is in trouble. You know?
Yeah, I got to disagree with that
Because
completely.
I don't think that Apple needs to protect the bigger iPhone like that.
No, I don't.
I think that they can
Sorry. I don't.
What?
I don't think Apple's going to take anything out of, say, the iPhone 4S. Let's just assume that the base model will be the iPhone 4S that runs iOS 7. Whatever the iPhone 4S can do right now today, the iPhone 5C or S, whatever it is going to be called, will still be able to do it. I cannot see Apple releasing a new phone that's got fewer features than the phone that they had yesterday. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I agree with that.
Okay. All right. As long as you and I agree, everything's all right in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe
I think that Apple has to be able to make a phone that people that don't want to spend, $500 or $600
Yep.
will buy. Maybe they spend $300 or something like that. But they have to build this product that people will buy. That also, and just as important, that people are going to buy and say, "I have an iPhone,"
Yeah.
and the thing doesn't fall apart on them in their pocket.
Yep. I think one of go ahead.
People were tweeting me today and saying, "Oh, well, just because it's plastic doesn't mean it's cheap." I never said that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's plastic or if it's metal or whatever it is, has to withstand the reputation that Apple built.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't care what it's made of.
I think the one of the other things that a lot of folks are missing, including Gruber and Ben Evans, is that this phone is going to be the third world phone, in my opinion. This is the phone that Apple wants to sell in Russia, in India, in China. I think that's the target market for this next low-cost iPhone, because Apple wants to sell that phone to those people who don't have $600 to pay for an unsubsidized phone, but might be able to scrape up, maybe with subsidization from their local carriers, $49, $10, whatever it might be, in China, in India, and in Russia. I think that's where that phone is going to be the biggest, most important phone for Apple. Apple's still going to sell 20 million of the high-end iPhone. I think it's just a given, no matter what they call it, whether they call it the iPhone 5 or iPhone S or whatever the hell it's going to be called. I guarantee they'll sell 20 million of them in the first full quarter. I think the low-cost phone, whether it comes in colors or whatever else it is the key for Apple to the third world market, in my opinion.
And it's if anybody doubts the power of that market, then all you have to do is you can look at two things. You can look at the iPod. I mean, swinging around and grabbing that lower end of the market was huge for Apple. I mean, the iPod Mini and Nano after were their best-selling iPods.
That's right.
And they weren't that expensive.
Yep, absolutely.
Certainly in comparison to the original one. But also, if you want to look at the phone market, look at Samsung and BlackBerry and the prices that they put on those models, and tell people, for an extra $50 or for the same amount of money, you can have this brand new iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the Samsung. I mean, come on, people are going to be all over that. And, the millions of phones that these companies sell, well, not BlackBerry, they don't sell millions of anything anymore, but, the millions of phones that Samsung sells, and, HTC, this could bury HTC.
Yeah, agreed.
They're already in enough trouble as it is, and I feel bad for HTC. But, this could really hurt Samsung, because the phones that they're selling are from, low end to high end, and, we don't know which ones of which they're really selling because they don't release a whole lot of numbers. But this could really hurt them, because tens of millions now could go to the iPhone.
Speaking of Samsung, I had to. Okay, granted, it's Jay Yarrow. granted, it's Business Insider. So granted, it's a whole big load of stupid. But he tweeted, Samsung plans to upstage Apple's iPhone 5S announcement by revealing a smartwatch on September 4th. What were your thoughts about that?
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first of all, it's not true. Okay, yes, Samsung may very well unveil a smartwatch on September 4th. But anyone who thinks that A, they're doing it to upstage Apple, or that it will in fact upstage Apple, is a freaking moron.
Well, I mean, Samsung may do it hoping to upstage Apple, but it won't.
Not even close. Not even close. The only thing Samsung could do to upstage the iPhone 5S announcement on September 10th is if the CEO of Samsung walked on water. If he literally walked across the stage, a pool of water, as if he was Jesus freaking Christ, that's the only thing that's going to upstage that. For the most part, no one cares about smartwatches.
I don't think so. It's not the device they care about. It's the implementation they care about.
Exactly. And I can't see I can't see this announcement. It'll make a quick splash day after, but by the weekend it'll be over. We will not be talking about this the same week that Apple announces the iPhone 5S. So for Jay Yarrow and Business Insider to say that is just utterly idiotic.
What Samsung hopes, and what any company that does something like this hopes, is that reporters at the event will go to Apple and say, "Oh yes, the Samsung thing.
Yeah.
What about that? How come you didn't?" That's what they're hoping.
Yeah.
But unless this thing is just wildly, crazy good, then people aren't going to care.
No, I don't think people are going to care, even if it is wildly crazy good, because most people, watches are just fashion statements nowadays for the most part. Only tech geeks want a fancy-ass watch that does something. I want a watch that tells time. You look at the other kind of watches you can get. I was talking to Maurice about this earlier. The scuba diving watches, or the jogging watches, or the climbing watches. Those are very specific niche market watches, and I don't think Apple's going to be in that market of a watch just for tech geeks.
Well,
so speaking of people who should know better,
I don't even see them as a fashion statement at this point, to be honest.
Sure,
I mean, they used to be a fashion statement, but I don't see that anymore.
Yep. Speaking of someone who should know better, who's someone who usually isn't an idiot, Ina Fried over at All Things D said, Apple's September 10th iPhone reveal set to disrupt a bunch of other tech events. This is a non-story that All Things D shouldn't even have written. This happens all the time. It's September. All kinds of events happen in September.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, in Ina's own article, TechCrunch co-editor Eric Eldon, because they have the TechCrunch events on the same day, says the same thing happened last year, and I don't think it had a huge impact. Kind of destroys your story, Ina. Kind of kicks your story right in the teeth. I mean, she's trying to make up a story of how Apple's going to disrupt all this stuff. Yes, they will, but not in the same way. Not in the same way that she thinks she's doing it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen that story. So
it's, you know what, you go. You are not missing anything. Trust me.
Apparently not.
But the thing for me that was a little disappointing was this is Ina Fried. She's usually pretty doggone good over at All Things D, and All Things D are usually pretty good about not doing these kinds of fluff stories, and so it was kind of upsetting to see this kind of fluff story. Arcsign wants me to ask you.
That's weird.
Arcsign wants me to ask you about. Ask Jim if he worries, as I do, that billionaires' interest in Apple stock and leadership might change Apple for the worse. What he's talking about is the story happened yesterday. Carl Icahn, the billionaire investor, chairman of Icahn Enterprises, apparently bought a buttload of Apple stock and then tweeted, We currently have a large position in Apple. We believe the company to be extremely undervalued. Spoke to Tim Cook today. That single tweet, less than 140 characters, increased Apple's stock valuation by billions of dollars. Is that not stock manipulation, Jim?
Well, no, not really. I mean, he bought it. He's free to talk about it.
But by him talking about it, by someone of his, I mean, you talking about how you have 10 stock, ooh, big frickin' deal, didn't do a damn thing. No one paid attention to it. No one bought more stock.
I was kind of pissed off with that, you know. It should have done something, you know.
Yeah. But this guy does it. And wouldn't you think that he's some sort of responsibility to, I don't know, because what he could have done was said, just bought Apple stock, watch the stock go up 5%, then sell the Apple stock and make 5% of, I don't know, $1 billion or whatever it was that he bought Apple stock. It just feels like this is him propping the company up. Not that it needs propping up, but it feels like it's just him saying, oh, I have faith in Apple and you should too. Go buy Apple stock.
Yeah. I'll tell you, he is, whether it worries me when these billionaires get on there, sometimes it does.
Sure, yeah.
Especially with guys like him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got a ton of money.
He
can, you know, make things hurt.
Well, it's not
so
only,
if he says something bad,
yeah, exactly,
then that can hurt.
The issue too is that with such a large stake, and it's less than 1%, but that still gives you some juice. That gets you Tim Cook's private cell phone number. I guarantee you, he's got Tim Cook's iPhone 5S number. Okay, so he can move the company too. He can influence the company. He can influence Tim Cook. He can influence the board of directors for better or worse, depending on what his goals are. And I think that's what Arcsign is talking about, that instead of the company being left alone to do what it's going to do, suddenly you have these billionaire investors who may or may not know tech. And we've seen Wall Street does not understand Apple historically. This guy may not understand Apple either and may force Apple to make moves that Apple's not ready for.
I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think that, sure, he can, you know, talk to Tim and have Tim's cell phone number and, you know, whatever.
Yep.
But I don't think that means that Apple would all of a sudden release another iPhone because ICANN is, you know, pushing them.
Yeah.
I just don't think that would happen.
But that's certainly the concern, and certainly something that Tim Cook is smart enough to keep an eye out for too. I mean, he will be looking to see if ICANN is trying to push the company one way or the other, or as Arcsign says, I worry that as an insider now, he'll pressure the board to pander to the stock price first mentality.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see that.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'd be shocked and disappointed if something like that happened where, you know, if we heard, you know, in a year or 2 years that Apple had this product that they released that bombed, and then Tim Cook came out and said, well, you know, we were put under a lot of pressure by ICANN, and
sure.
I'd be disappointed.
Yeah. I think it would go back to the days of the Apple and Motorola with that awful rocker phone that seemed to be forced on jobs by the Motorola folks, and that's an instance of the company being forced by outsiders to do something that they weren't ready for or didn't want to actually do.
Well, you know, I think in that case, I think Apple was looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that whole thing is very interesting when you look back at it, because even at that time, we were all yelling for some kind of an Apple phone.
Yeah.
You know, and what we ended up getting was that.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, we were looking for it.
Yeah.
So, and we got it. We didn't like it once we got it, but we got it.
Did you actually buy one of those?
Yes, I had one.
Did you? I just kind of knew that it was going to be a complete dud and had no interest in it. But you're more of a music guy than I am, so I would have expected you to do it.
Well, and then I reviewed it. You know, I did all the normal stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had one, and you know, I'm not proud of it.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, but Jason Snell will attest to this. I was a phone whore. I mean, every time something new came on the market, I had to have it.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jason got stuck with the bill for it.
That's right. You're working for Mackerel at the time. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, and I remember, you know, after the event, going back with the rocker phone and, you know, sitting at my desk and plugging it in, and that's when the trouble started.
That's right, exactly. As soon as you started using it.
I turned it on and the trouble started.
I just remember the look on Jobs' face as he was talking about it, and it looked like he was just chewing on a big pile of shit. And he was not happy about it at all. I think Jobs knew that thing was a piece of crap.
Well, I can't remember what year that was, but remember, this I know for sure, when Jobs was doing this, they were already working on the iPhone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they had working iPhones while Jobs was standing on stage with the Motorola CEO, so basically stabbing him in the back.
So, well, no, I mean, Jobs did what he was doing there. It's not like, you know, he said he wasn't going to do something. So, you know, the point is, Jobs is standing there with this rocker, knowing that it sucked and knowing that they had something better in the works.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, so it must have killed him even more to hold that thing up and think, God, what a piece of crap this is. You know, I mean, that would have been tough, especially for him. I mean, most of us, normal humans, can hold a piece of crap in our hands and not worry about it. I mean, he says it's a piece of crap, you know, so it must have really bothered him.
He was probably worried about exploding.
But, you know, to be perfectly honest, at that time, that's why we liked the BlackBerry so much, because the BlackBerry was all we wanted at that point. Really, was email.
Yep.
That was the killer app, was email, and at that point, setting up a BlackBerry was very easy. You turn it on, you get this cute little graphical interface that you use a scroll wheel to navigate through, and you set up an email account, and that was a snap. And there you have what was a smartphone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why we like it. That's why we like the iPhone, because it's so damn easy. You don't even need a computer. You don't need anything. Yeah. The iPhone is your computer, and it's very easy to set up. And if you have an iCloud account, I mean, look back. You remember back when Mobile Me, you know, when you set up a new computer, you know, you type in your Mobile Me account, and it would be just painful as it synced with Mobile Me, bringing down your contacts and stuff. I'm thinking, oh my God, come on, you know, it's contacts. And now, when I set up a new computer, it's just boom, all of a sudden everything is there. Calendars, contacts, you know, everything. It's just done.
Yep.
So things are getting a lot easier as we set up new devices. Set up an iPhone, set up an iPad, a computer, boom, all your stuff is there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't think the technorati, the tech media, tech geeks, all those guys really understand how important that is to the average user. Geeks like setting stuff up. They like playing with the settings. They like all that kind of stuff. I bought the cute Italian girl for her birthday an iPhone 4S. She had an iPhone 3 or 3G. It was an old, slow, painful machine. And she was amazed at how easy it was to simply back up her old iPhone 3G onto the laptop, then turn it off, plug in her new iPhone 4S, say restore from backup, and boom, everything was on the phone. The phone looked the exact same. The physicalness of the phone was different, but the visuals, her icons were in the same spot. Her background picture was there. All the pictures of her daughter were all there. Geeks don't get how important that is to the average person. I don't think they understand.
You know what it's getting to? I don't think they do either. And it's getting to the point now where I think even a lot of the geeks, and I'll include myself in this, don't like to do it.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time when I would get a phone and I'd love to sit down and go through it all, every setting, and see what it does and
That's right.
how does that affect the perform. Now, I just want to type in my iCloud account and get all my stuff on it so I can continue working and doing other things. So I'm beyond the point now. I mean, you know, I see all of these articles of, people tearing apart iOS 7, you know, pixel for pixel, setting for setting. And God bless them for doing it, because I'm not going to do it. There's no way I'm going to do it. Because I just don't care enough to want to sit down and do that. And, you know, Rennie Ritchie has some great articles, some great how-to articles that on the surface seem really silly. You know, how to set up an email account in iOS 6 or whatever. Well, you know, you and I look at that and say, well, duh, of course you set up an email account that way. But not everybody knows. So those articles are actually very good resources for new users. But if I can type in an email and a password and get everything that I need on my phone and be gone and working in minutes, sign me up for that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
that's what I want.
I think it's going to be one of those things that that Apple understands and the Android crowd don't understand. But I wonder how much of that, Jim, is an age maturity thing. Not accusing you of being mature at all, but I wonder if that's just because we've done it so many times. I mean, how many phones have we done that with each? 20, 30 over the lifetime that we've had phones?
Well,
after a while, you just get tired of doing it. Maybe the quote-unquote kids out there still want to do that stuff or haven't gotten jaded or tired of the whole process.
Okay, but now look at it like this and get back to our earlier conversation of the lower-cost iPhone. How many of those people are just people that don't want to spend $600, cannot spend $600 on an iPhone, but if they could buy one for $300, $200, $100, whatever, you know, with subsidies, if they're going to actually do that, how many people would buy it then? I bet you a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
I think a lot of these people actually have Android phones because of the price. And, you know, it's been tough times for years now, unfortunately. And, you know, people are sensitive to cost. And we all have to be sensitive to cost. I mean, God, you know, I've got 2 kids in university now. I'm sensitive to cost. I'm thinking of skipping meals now, you know.
Well, you can afford to skip one or two.
Yeah, I heard that. You know, people are sensitive to that. I think Apple understands that. But if Apple releases a piece of crap, the press will just kill them.
Sure.
And that's just not what Apple does. I mean, they used to release pieces of crap. The performance. So there you go.
All right, folks. I've been talking. Where's didn't you guys do a what the hell's your name of your podcast? Expendables, Untouchables.
Yeah, something like that.
Impendables. What the hell's it called? Amplified. Oh yeah. Didn't you guys do an amplified today?
We didn't.
I didn't see your tweet. So you guys are planning on doing it tomorrow?
Tomorrow at my
Sorry, you broke up there, Jim. Are you doing an amplified tomorrow?
4:00 Eastern tomorrow.
All right. Folks, follow Jim on Twitter. He's J. Dalrymple on Twitter, and you can get an indication of exactly when he's going to be doing amplified. Until next week, Jim, thanks very much, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Shawn.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
My apologies, folks, for the glitching that we had earlier. It was very, very annoying. Just been talking to our web geek guy, and he thinks he has a solution for our own private Italy website. So we're getting there. We're working on it. Remember, if you're a subscriber for the month of August, September, or October, you will get a special super secret password to log in to the special super secret site. You'll be able to find videos and be able to find pictures and all kinds of fun stuff. And I said this earlier, and it's funny how important is the wrong word, but how much folks seem to have enjoyed the pictures that we posted up on Flickr. Flickr.com/photos/your Mac life. Myself, the CIG, and the little CIG, the daughter of the CIG, went to the Calgary Zoo over the weekend. And I love zoos, especially zoos with penguins. You all know that I like penguins. I'm not going to lie. I've always liked penguins, always will like penguins. So, if you're watching the video, the first picture is of a beautiful lake. This is typical of the lakes. Well, I got the wrong video up there. It's not Jim Dalrymple. Typical of the lakes around here, where you've got this wonderful view of the mountains off in the background. So, not that picture. I've gone the wrong direction. And then there was this area that the CIG took me to. It was about a third of a kilometer hike to get to this spot called Mistaya Canyon, Mistaya. And it's really interesting. It's sort of like a baby Grand Canyon. In 100,000 years, this will be the Grand Canyon, where the stream, the river, I guess, has cut its way through the rocks. You can see it here in the next video. Next picture, how the water is just pounding its way through the rocks here, and it's done an amazing destruction, erosion is the word I'm looking for. And there's a picture of the CIG next to the stream. And then there was these. I guess these are called prairie dogs. There's a difference. I didn't know this between gophers and prairie dogs and ground squirrels. I've yet to figure out what the. It's not a fetish. People calling it a penguin. I just like penguins. And these things are all over the place around here. They're very cute. This was at the Jasper Glacier. In the Jasper National Park section of it, and up there off in the distance, you can see those are actually vehicles. This is how big the glacier is. It's massive. It used to be even bigger too. It's kind of scary how much the glacier has retreated over the years. So then we went to the zoo. The Calgary Zoo actually was hit very, very hard by the flooding that we had here in Calgary back in June, and there's an entire the whole African section of the zoo is shut down. Won't be open until November because that was the hardest hit. So they've opened up parts of the zoo to folks to come see the animals. And my favorite animals are the penguins. And unfortunately, Mosquito told me that one of the Humboldt penguins that we saw at the zoo had passed away. Apparently, there's some sort of penguin disease that they're susceptible to, and one of the little fellows passed away. They were very cute. I love this one penguin that you see in this video. Literally for the entire half hour we were there, just sat on his stomach or just laid down, just flat in his stomach. It was just hilarious. And this other penguin was giving this look like, dude, I don't even know you. Get up. And then there's this other penguin who, for the entire time we were there, again, half an hour, stood there with his left flipper just sticking out. Not his right flipper, not both flippers, just the left flipper. Just sticking out like that. It was just absolutely hilarious. And again, the penguin on his tummy. And these are the rockhopper penguins. These are kind of cool and cute with the punk hairdo. And there's a close-up of the little fat penguin who couldn't be bothered to get up for the entire time we were there. It's kind of funny seeing animals in a zoo that you see almost in your daily life. This is the bighorn. This is a mountain goat. Bighorn sheep, yeah. I've seen many times just driving around. Haven't seen these ones. These are called Dow's sheep. Completely different look to them than other sheep or goats. Had a bunch of owls in the bird enclosure. Gorgeous owls. And this was either a turkey fight or turkey sex. We weren't quite sure what was going on there. I'm going with turkey sex just because I'm sick that way. Beautiful, rough-legged hawk. This one's called. And this is the only way you ever want to see a grizzly bear, from behind an enclosure where he's in a cage and you're safe on the other side, because otherwise it's probably going to tear you apart. And again, another ground squirrel these weren't gophers. These ones were definitely what's the other word for them? Not gophers. I forgot what the name of it is. Anyway, so that was our trip to the zoo. Also had this very funny penguin statue of obviously a parent penguin and a baby penguin. And I had to get my picture. Prairie dog. That's Monty. It was a prairie dog. That's a prairie dog. Apparently, gophers are half the size of a prairie dog. And this one was the size of a small cat. So yeah, there was this little penguin statue that I had to get my picture taken next to. So if you're in Calgary, if you're in the Calgary area, definitely encourage you to go to the zoo. It's kind of a cool area. So as I was saying before, this is my 1 week review of the BookBook. The folks at 12south.com kindly sent us 2 of these. Mine is the classic brown. The cute Italian girl has got the vintage black. And we are going to be testing these. Now, she's going to be nicer to hers than I am, just by the nature of she's a girl, I'm a boy. I throw this in my pocket. I sit on it. I don't care. I'm going to treat this like I would treat anything else. She squealed when she saw them. So that's how she's going to treat hers. It goes in her purse, very, very safely in a little pocket in her purse. First thing first, it smells like rich Corinthian leather. Okay, yeah, I know that was a little weird. But it smells and feels like well-worn leather, which I really, really like. It has a nice grippiness to it. It's not slippery, but it's not sticky either. So it slides in and out of your pocket very, very easily. The downside, let's talk about the downsides first. One of the downsides, I'm moving the camera so you guys can see, is there are no holes. So there's the front of my iPhone, okay? There are no holes in the back for the camera, which is a little bit of an inconvenience because to take pictures, you've got to grab this little red tab you see in the top, pop the little red tab out, which is basically a holder for the phone, and then according to 12 South, slide your iPhone up to reveal the camera. That's a little inconvenient. That's a little annoying. So I'm not really crazy about that. Another downside of it, and this is the downside of any device. Sorry, the reason why we got the BookBook is because they also hold your credit cards and business cards. And there's a little side pocket here you could put other cards and money and things like that. So another downside of these things is if you lose it, you are so totally screwed. Because not only have you lost your wallet, you've lost your phone to cancel your credit cards. So that's a concern for me because as those longtime listeners of Your Mac Life know, I'm an idiot. I'm constantly leaving stuff behind. I don't know how many times I left my phone at home as I've gone off riding the motorcycle. The funny thing is, there's been several times when I've left the house and reached to my back right pocket where I always keep my wallet, find my wallet, and then can't find my phone. And so I'm going around the house, where did I leave my phone? Where did I leave my phone? Only to realize my phone's in the wallet. So I got to get used to that, the fact that my phone is my wallet, and my wallet's in my phone. And yeah. Another downside of it is when you're making a call, the proximity sensor doesn't work. There's something, one of the leather strips blocks the proximity sensor. And the downside of that is when you're on a call, your face is against the phone and you can dial digits. You can hang up on people by accident. I speak from experience because I've done this. So that's a bit of an annoyance. If you use your phone with a headset, not a problem. Another one is when you fold the phone over. Now this is because it's only been 1 week. When you fold the phone over, it doesn't yet fall flat. And what that means is as you type on it, it kind of bounces a little bit. But I'm not that concerned about that because over time the leather will soften and this will flatten down like that. Another problem is I don't know if I should be doing that because my credit card's right there. The pockets, again, because it's a brand new device, the pockets are still a little bit tight. So it's tough to get business cards to slide in there properly. You don't want to bend your business card as you're sliding in there. And paper things that you have, for example, the Alberta medical card is just a piece of paper. It won't slide into this because it's not yet loose enough to be able to do that. So minor annoyances. None of these are deal breakers, except the camera one. If you use your camera a lot and find the idea of either sliding the phone out to take a picture or sliding it up to take a picture an annoyance, then I wouldn't get the BookBook. But if you're okay with that, then after a week, I really like this. It's fun. The funniest thing was I'm sitting at the office one day, and so this is what it looks like when you're just sitting on a desk. Just trying to get you an idea of kind of like what it looks like. And one of the ladies at work walks by and goes, "Why do you have a little tiny book on your desk?" I looked at her in all seriousness and said, "It's my Bible." And she took a beat and then went, "Oh," and literally backed away. Literally walked backwards away from me. So it looks like a little tiny Bible to some people. So that's good for a laugh. Overall, you know what? Let me check at 12south.com because I just realized I don't know what the price. 12south.com BookBook for the iPhone 4S. $60. So it's made out of high quality leather. $60. I think it's a good present for someone. If you want to get rid of the bulk, if you have a bulky wallet, see, this would not be suitable for you guys. I've never had a bulky wallet in my life. I don't keep receipts. I don't keep 85 different cards in my wallet. So I had no problem with just the one or two cards I have in my wallet. But if you have a lot of things in your wallet, if you're one of those guys that's got one of those George Costanza wallets, it's actually affecting your posture, this is not the device for you unless you cut down on the kind of stuff that you're carrying around in your pocket. For me, that wasn't an issue. I actually wanted to find something that was both a case and a wallet at the same time, and this was a very good example of that. So it's going to be interesting, again, to see if it loosens up over time, to see if it softens much and gets floppier like leather does. It already feels nice, but as leather wears in, as your oils on your fingers and your hands soften it up and change the texture of it, scratches will make leather look better. I think it'll look better. So the other thing is, so we're gonna do this in a month it's August, end of October when I come back from the Italy trip and see if I still feel the same way. See if I'm still using the BookBook. That's the key. If I come on that first show in November and tell you guys I'm still using the BookBook. That to me says it all. It means that that's how much I like it, because this is the first case I've ever left on my iPhone. Most other cases I take off very, very quickly. Even my Mophie battery case, I would rarely use that as a case. I would have it in my backpack or in my travel bag, and when I need a juice, I would put the case on. So this is the first time I've actually carried an iPhone in a case on its own. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. Monty, the week I was in the YMO studio, Shawn gave me a case from iPhone 4. Yeah, what case was that, Monty? That was a Sena case, if I remember correctly. Monty, I think it was SENA. And yeah, at the time, I didn't want my wallet, my iPhone to be the same device. But because I'm going to be traveling, I'm trying to minimize the amount of stuff I'm going to be carrying around and the amount of stuff I could potentially lose. The website is senacases.com, Monty. You can find they've got a bunch for all kinds of different devices, but senacases.com. Let's do some emails. As always, we like getting emails from you guys. Send me emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com, and we'll read out to the relevant ones on air. Richard Madison, our good friend Richard Madison, writes in email, says, "At last, we finally get to see the CIG you've made so much of over the past few months. Now I can see why. A beautiful lady indeed. I hope you'll be including many more, along with other images of the rest of your trip, on the exclusive, super secret, subscribers-only website. I'm really looking forward to everything both of you post, because I'll never get to Italy myself." Don't say that, Rick. Don't you may want to go to Italy. It's beautiful. It's fun. Not cheap, but you should try to go. He says, "Now about my Friends of Your Mac Life subscription. I would like to increase the amount, but I'm not sure of the correct way to do it. I don't want to have multiple PayPal entries monthly, so is there a way to change the old amount to a new dollar figure without unsubscribing and then resubscribing?" No, you can't. You have to unsubscribe, then resubscribe. Sorry, man. I don't want to screw up my account or wind up messing you up. Any help you can offer will be greatly appreciated. Yeah, other folks have asked about that too, Rick, and it's just, there's no way of doing it. You can't go into PayPal and say, I'm giving $2 now, I want to give $5 now. You either have to do another one and have two, and like you said, you don't want to do that, or but it's simple to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. It's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it, man. Just unsubscribe and resubscribe. Video's fine here, kids. So, the video is running just fine here. Les Posen, I was mid-flight last week when you read my follow-up email. I listened back as a podcast. Find attached a photo of the power board I take with me. And I got this posted up. Make sure I got audio going. Yeah, we got audio going here. He says, note the 2 USB power slots for the iPad and iPhone and the 6 power slots for other gear. But note the spacing so that those power brick AC adapters have some room. This is the only one I need. 1 adapter per country I visit for all my electrical accessories. Now, keep in mind, he is in Australia, so that's why it's for us North Americans, an odd-looking power adapter. But I think he's right. Look at the space between the individual plugs. That's something we don't do a lot of here in North America. In North America, they seem to jam them together, and you might have space for 6 plugs, but only 3 of them fit because they take up so much room. He also says, also take with me a Garmin GPS unit with the local maps where possible in case I can't get a data SIM from my iPad to use Apple Maps. Yeah, I plan on bringing a Garmin GPS also. He says, finally, I have a new car, which I picked up the day after my return last week. He's got a Mazda 6 turbo diesel. Actually, you know what? That's a nice-looking car, dude. I've installed a Blackview DR500GW HD in-car camera for recording driving events. Not just for the pleasure of recalling a trip, but as a safety precaution in case of hit-and-run accidents. That happen a lot in Australia, dude. Not a cheap unit, but it comes with Mac software to replay the journey, including GPS mapping and speeds. and is equipped with Wi-Fi, so you can use your iPhone or iPad to watch the live video or its recordings in a 16 gig card. There are much cheaper units, but they are poor at night and are fuzzy when you try to see license plates. This is fully HD 1080p. It's one of the best in the market, well worth having as an insurance policy when you hire cars. He says there's lots of sellers of those things on eBay. Blackview.co.kr is the URL if you want to check that thing out for yourself. Greetings. I've read that a replacement for Mountain Lion called Mavericks OS 10.9 is due in September. When it arrives, will I be able to upgrade my late 2006 iMac? Does anyone know? Yeah, 2006 iMac? No, that's not going to happen. I'm almost positive that a 2006 iMac will not be able to run Mavericks. Has Apple? No, I don't think Apple's released specs of it just yet, Milner, but I'd be hard-pressed to believe that you'd be able to run Mavericks on that thing. I'd say Sherry says, no, I think the first aluminum ones, only the first aluminum ones will run Mavericks. So, yeah, that's not gonna work. Sorry about that, buddy. Gary Apter writes about travel. He says, Alex Lindsay must be one of the best sources you can tap for travel advice. He's on MacBreak Weekly, often with Leo Laporte. The guy seems to be constantly traveling all over the world. You might ask him about travel tips. Gary Apter. Gary, I would, except that Alex doesn't like me a whole lot. Alex is one of those guys over the years I pissed off because he doesn't like what I say. His loss. It's just one of those things that I tend to, say what you guys know. I tend to say what I think and don't hold anything back. And Alex apparently wasn't happy with some of the things I don't even remember. It was so many years ago. I don't even remember why he's pissed at me, but I know he's pissed at me. So I don't care. Guys are saying in the chat room, the 2006 iMac is toast. The mid 2007 is the lowest that supports Mavericks. Seeing as that iMac can't run 10.8, it can't run 10.9, according to MacMan, which makes perfect sense. Yes, Monty, I have no filters between my brain and my mouth, and I'm okay with that. Overall, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I screw it up sometimes and get myself in trouble, but for the most part, I'm fine. I'm fine with being that way. So you guys were asking, and a bunch of emails from folks talking about sponsoring Your Mac Life. And we're going to start in September. The first show in September, you will be able to sponsor Your Mac Life. And what it will be is that it'll be Your Mac Life brought to you by you. Your Mac Life brought to you by your company. Your Mac Life brought to you by your URL. Whatever it'll be. I think you guys know that, or some of you know that I'm lousy at ad sales. I'm terrible at going out to other people and getting sponsorships. I suck at it. To me, my idea of selling ads, you want to buy an ad? No? Screw you. Again, not very tactful. So we had someone send a PayPal donation, and so now I'm going to, if you're interested in sponsoring Your Mac Life, send me an email, Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Or on air at yourmaclifeshow.com, and I'll give you the price. It's $100. Oh, I let it slip. $100. $100. You sponsor Your Mac Life. Your name gets put on the video. Your name gets put on the press release. Your name gets put on the website. Your name gets mentioned on the show at least 3 times: beginning of the show, middle of the show, end of the show. And I'm doing this for the fun of it. I think this could be fun. Just have Your Mac Life sponsored by Sherry. I just picked the name of the IRC chat room. Just Sherry. That's it. We'll just say Sherry. I think it could be kind of fun. So we'll start that in September. Let's give some prizes away. I want to say thanks very much to the nice people at the Friends of Your Mac Life contest. You don't have to be a subscriber. All you do is send an email to go to the website and click on the Friends of YML contest. Right there at the top of the website, and it sends me a little email form that you filled out. I drop it into a virtual hat, and randomly I will draw names out of the hat. We got a bunch of prizes. We got stuff from the folks at Incipio.com, Joby.com, Lowpro.com, AcmeMade.com, PadandQuillCases.com, and OloClip. This week we're going to give away, let's give away one of the Pad and Quill cases. They actually got a new one. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, PadandQuillCases.com. They actually got a really nice new one that we'll see if you can give that away. So if you hear your name called, send me an email with your shipping address and the kind of Pad and Quill case you would like. In other words, for your iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, iPhone 5, or your iPad. I don't think they're making them for the iPad, the original iPad anymore, but iPad 2, 3, 4, or the iPad Mini. So let me go to the mailing list where I can find all the names of the lovely people who have subscribed or signed up to Your Mac Life, who have sent me an email for the Friends of Your Mac Life contest entry form. Again, if you're a subscriber, you don't got to worry about doing all this stuff because I've done it for you. So all of our subscribers already have their name put in the virtual hat. So if you're a subscriber, don't worry about it. If you don't want to subscribe, not a problem. Click on the link at the top of the website and it sends me an email. So we're going to scroll through and one of our lucky listeners, one of you guys in the IRC chat room, please say stop at your convenience. And I'm scrolling through and let's see. Come on, someone say stop. There we go. Sherry said stop. This one's going out to Mark Uribe. Uribe. Sorry, Mark, if I screwed your name up. Mark Uribe. Doesn't say where you are, Mark, but congratulations. You've won a Pad and Quill case. Thanks to the nice folks at PadandQuillCases.com. Mark, send me your shipping address along with the telephone number and the kind of Pad and Quill case you would like. Go to the website, PadandQuillCases.com. Choose the Pad and Quill case of your liking, and they're all gorgeous. They're made in the USA out of USA products, if that's important to you. So PadandQuillCases.com, Mark Uribe. Thanks, Mark, for being a subscriber to Your Mac Life. I appreciate it. Let's see what else we got. Yes, MacMan, as we did for Trash Talk. That's right, back in the day, as we did for Trash Talk. Shadow says, brought to you by his shadow. May his merciful shadow fall upon you and your usable flesh shall be consigned to the protein bank. I could do that. Yeah, I could. That could be a sponsor of the show. That's it for tonight. Thank you guys very much for joining us, and a big, huge virtual hug to Sly. Thank you very much for being in the IRC chat room. You're probably watching Big Brother, relaxing or drinking or something like that, and we love you, Sly, and we can't wait to have you back on the show very, very soon. So on that note, folks, thank you guys very much for joining me. I appreciate it. As always, love having the audience here. You guys are the best. I'm filling now because the thing won't click on the thing I'm clicking on. Folks, until next week, as always, I've been Shawn King, and you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!